Let me get my water right.
What's up? What's up, my man?
Hold up, man. Let me get my hat right. Hold up.
For sure, bro.
I'm gonna have to have my traditional.
For sure.
Let me get right.
For sure, bro. Absolutely.
Let me get right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, my dog, bro. Happy to have you on it. You know what I mean? Once again, 2 times you're, the original member of the Culture Conversation being on the first episode. So
appreciate it.
We're opening, the doors for your unique conversation again, brother. So yeah, man, we're just gonna tap into it, man, and talk about, the deal. You've been able to now lock a secure position within the CEBL as an assistant general manager for the Niagara River Line. So just talk about that experience, man.
Well, first off, I appreciate you having me again. I'm on the platform. It's been a blessing, man. This journey that we call life. Sometimes things give us opportunity to slow down, and in the midst of slowing down everything, I had a chance to reflect on kind of where my goals were going and where I was driving to, and kind of like where I wanted to see myself in the next year or 2 from now. And I realized some things that I was doing wasn't really all the way aligned with my goals. So I wanted to kind of narrow down my thought process. And a big goal of mine is to become an NBA general manager. So in order to become an NBA general manager, I have to be doing things that's conducive to such. I've been in contact with the Niagara River Line for a few months now, and we've built a great rapport, and it feels like the energy there is just a lot of synergy there. We work well together, and I feel like they offer me a position to be the assistant general manager, which would be very similar to like what a GM would do, and I feel like it fit to what I was trying to carry myself towards now, and it made a marriage, and I think we just take it from there.
Absolutely, man. That's amazing, man. It was actually dope to see because obviously, that in Canada, a lot of these positions are held by people that are non-visible minorities. So, it's very big for our culture to have somebody like you that, represents people of, visible minorities, but you're a guy from the inner city like myself. So we talk our language. We understand that now you represent us, as a guy from the masses. So, it's very good to see that now you're in these positions and, you being an OG, you can now send that information and, be an OG and share that experience and, motivate guys like myself to do the same to the upcoming generation.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. The whole premise of figuring out a way to integrate into a front office position, whether it be in Canada, in the United States, etc., it's just kind of like wanting to lead the way, not saying no one else has done it, but kind of give guys a way to stay involved with the game outside of being an NBA agent and outside of being a coach and outside of being any other entity, and finding different ways to be involved in a game that you love and it's still in a creative space, if that makes sense. Honestly, I was really inspired. People may not know this, but I was extremely inspired by Jerry Krause watching the Last Dance. I know he took a lot of heat, a lot of slack, but I feel like he had the mentality and the mindset to think outside of the box and kind of go after players that fit a mold to what he thinks is a championship team. Even though at the end of it, it broke up because maybe some of his ego and whatever the case may be. But the original foundation that he built, that core of this firing Doug Collins and going with Phil Jackson and getting 2 rookies in Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen and acquiring shooters like Steve Kerr and John Paxson, etc. These are things that I look at in a general manager perspective. Like, yeah, I would have done something similar. So I was inspired by the way Jerry Krause's mind worked, and I wanted to do something similar.
Nah, man, that's dope. It's crazy to hear the backstory and the behind the scenes, the thought process before decisions like these get made. Because a lot of people might think this is something that just happens sporadically, but this is, like you said, man, you've been very intentional with your thoughts and your ideas, and everything kind of aligns and opens up into the next stage of your career, your life, man. You've been a basketball player. You did it at a high level, respectively, as a professional, and opening up your business and being a Black business owner now, and turning a new leaf and a different venture, man. So kind of talk about that process of consistent progression into different ventures, like, and how you're able to continue to reinvent yourself during these unprecedented times?
I think it starts with a foundation of reading and reflection. I think we often move so in a space where we're in a microwave society. We want instant gratification. We want things to happen now. And I feel like I was able to slow myself down. If you see me a lot, shout out Tyler in the building, my guy. If you see me a lot, you see me post a lot saying slow motion but in motion. Like I love to take my time with things. I love to be patient with anything I'm doing. I don't like to rush anything. In Arabic, they have something called sabr. I like to consume a lot of sabr when I'm doing things. So the way I was able to reinvent myself was not rushing the invention of myself, if that makes sense. Letting things flow, letting different things happen, and grabbing inspiration from different things, and then adding to my pot of gumbo that I have, and then kind of thinking 2 steps ahead. Because sometimes you may think you're going in the right direction because you feel that way, but in all actuality, you may be going in the wrong direction. So self-reflection is huge. And I was able to think back and on things I was doing, and like maybe I gotta it's not the aim to change the target, like Hov said. So just change my target a little bit, and these are spaces that I need to be in, where I can affect the game of basketball on a Canadian scale and a North American scale and a global scale. And so I was able to reinvent my own businesses just by paying attention to what's going on around me and taking my time, not rushing the process.
Absolutely, and I think that we're always in a society of on the go. We turn a blind eye to a lot of things that come to illumine light. You know what I mean, like
Right.
mental health and you know what I mean, inner purity and stuff like that. So it's crazy, man. During these times, you get a chance to kind of reflect and figure out areas in your life where you're kind of neglecting. You know what I mean? And personally, for myself, reading is something that really set foundations for the habits in my life. So, I think, with, always seeing different things when you read, and sometimes when you read, it just gives you new inspiration because you're obtaining different information, you know what I mean? And, even in the book that we're reading right now, the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, man, it's like, it's just giving me new life in my ideas, and to have ideas that you may want for yourself, but it's going to happen at the right time, So now understanding the whole flow state and going at the course that life is going to throw you, you just got to be able to adapt. You know what I mean?
Huge, man. That word adapt, having adaptability, being able to code switch and being able to know what's for you at what time is very, very important. Kind of like a basketball player, kind of like an elite point guard reading the pick and roll, like knowing when the weak side defender is sagging off. Let me hit the guy in the corner for a three. Knowing when my man is overplaying me or he's going under. Let me shoot the three. Knowing when I need to get my big guy touch on the roll. Like just knowing what's for you. It's the same type of transferable traits that I take from the basketball court of how I play into real life.
For sure, man. And it's crazy because, it's good to see that you're able to build a diverse, portfolio with the different experiences that you had in your life, from being a very good basketball player and then, transitioning into opening up your business and then building an authentic brand through the test of time, and seeing the growth, the exponential growth of your brand. And then now stepping into the executive role, which is highly commendable, and I see that, now you can open up doors, which is the most important thing, that you're going to be that community guy where you can bridge the gap between the culture and community. And now, you have that platform, that vertical platform now that you can integrate within different opportunities for, people of, visible minorities or people from the inner city. So it's dope, man. And I know that you're a guy that's, never going to turn a blind eye. You're going to look out for the next generation, right? And investing in the youth. So, I guess if I was to ask you a couple of questions about some goals you have personally for your new position, what are some of the things that you would say?
A goal that I have for my new position is I can't give as much information in it as I want because it's not all the way finalized, but I definitely want to find ways to bridge the gap from not just minorities and communities, but actual players on how they can transition from being an actual basketball player into the real world after basketball is over. Building actual resourceful pools where they can pull from, and mentors where they can ask questions about how was it to be a real estate agent? How is it to be a lawyer? How do I start my own brand? How do I get into media, etc.? Things that they may not have learned in school, or they're so removed from school that all they know is basketball now at the time. These are things that I want to be able to make that connection between the league and the players, which will in tune connect with the community. Because the more basketball players or athletes become successful businessmen or whatever line of work they do because of the transferable traits they have from the game, the more the community looks up to them, the less killing we have, the less violence we have. Now it's more, I want to aspire to be this guy who went from being a basketball player to being the GM, or I want to be this guy who went from being a basketball player or being a coach to running his own brand, or this guy who went from being a basketball player to being a real estate agent. Like there's more light at the end of the tunnel. So I want to be able to help these guys diversify their palettes or diversify their sources of income by using their brain.
Absolutely, and that's to be, you know, respected. I think that a lot of people, when you're obviously in the athletic space, you know, I've talked about this several times. There's a lot of you know, emphasis on obviously winning and performing, that you kind of neglect a lot of the things like life after basketball and sustainability, you know, after the sport, right? So I think it's
What's up, Lee?
it's very important for, you know, guys that, you know, can now see the other side of the tunnel and be like, okay, you know, I'm very good at this and this outside of basketball. How do I get started? You know, I think information and education is the first tool. You know, is like get information and education, study those who came before you in that space, you know, and then, you know, it's making that jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. If our only measuring stick, or if our only metric of success that we can see is a Messiah, which is a great one. I don't know how relatable it is from someone who grew up in Scarborough, or someone who grew up in Rexdale, or someone who grew up in Bolton, or whatever the case may be. So I want to be one of those first guys in the new school to kind of get not just an executive role, but flourish in it, and then to pull guys up with me as well. And it may not have to be an executive role what they want. I just want to be able to help them do whatever they want to do. Start their second dream.
Yeah.
I realize when you go to sleep every day, you may have a new dream. Like, start your second dream. It's okay not to be a pro basketball player anymore. There's other things you can do, and that's the goal.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the era of diversification, man, and it's crazy because I was just reading a Forbes article on like Jay-Z's different ventures, and you know, studying, you know, his investments, and you know, the things that he does with like title and real estate and stuff like that. And it's crazy, but you can have like 10 hustles really if you set yourself up that way.
Yeah.
You know, and everything kind of aligns because the brands that you invest in is a representation of your values and the equity and the people that you have around you. You know what I mean? So it's always important to now set yourself up, you know, for longevity, right? Like we're talking about the end game, and a lot of people, you know, obviously get into business for different reasons. But like the one thing I always say is if your values are in line and you're playing the same game and have the same agendas as everybody else, then typically things just start happening periodically in the universe, right? So
they do. You just gotta be. That's a great point. You just gotta be patient enough to wait for it. Everyone's in this microwave society. Everyone's instant gratification. No one's really willing. Not I want to say no, but I want to be misquoted. I say the majority of people are not willing to put in the work to get to where they want to go. They see someone at the end of their journey, or at the middle part of their journey, or maybe on their 10,000th hour of mastery. So for 10 years they've been working on one thing, and you click on Instagram and you see them 10 years later, and they're so amazing at this one thing, but you want that in 1 week. You want that in 2 weeks or in 2 months, or you want that in 1 year, and if you can't get it in 1 year, you're gonna quit. Like it's over for you. Like so a lot of people don't want to put that one foot in front of the other and make sure it's slow motion, but they're in motion in order to attain a goal. Like that's the biggest thing is goal setting and taking the time to enjoy the process and going through the pits and valleys and ups and downs. It wasn't easy getting here. You know, it wasn't easy for me to get here. Like these situations didn't come because I gave up when anything happened. These positions come around because I was resilient and I wasn't going to change and conform to who I was for anybody. But at the same time, I was going to make sure any room I stepped into, I added value into it immediately. Once I put my foot into that door, the value was added, and that's my goal.
It's crazy you say that, man. The process is really, a lot of people downplay that whole process, man. But,
Right.
you know, it's like you said, man, in order to be an expert at something, they say, and in the book it says you got to put in 2 hours and 44 minutes a day.
A day.
You know, and it's like you look at the 10,000 hours. So the one thing that I see in this generation, and I think our culture has been very brainwashed to seek praises and instant gratification without even putting a tenth of the work. You know what I mean? Without
Right.
even putting a tenth of the work, doing things hard. So it's like, how do you, how do you go about putting in the work and seeing, your fruits come after, through your labor, after you put
Well,
in that work, you know what I mean?
well, I read a book by I think it was Abraham Maslow, and they state in this book that they took a drive from Vegas to Arizona. In the middle of their drive, they can see the mileage, and it's saying we're 200 miles away. At some point along the drive, the mileage on the side it vanished. They couldn't see it anymore. This discouraged the driver because he couldn't see the mileage anymore, so he wanted to turn back. The person sitting in the shotgun of them said, listen, we know Arizona's coming up because we've seen the miles beforehand. Just continue to drive. And as he drove, 2 hours later, they're in Arizona. I use that analogy to say that as long as you have that goal in mind that you're going to reach, you just have to continue to believe it's coming. Every single day, you have to put incremental pieces of work in to believe it's coming. You do two things every day. You get better, you get worse. You don't stay even. So if you continue to put small little pieces of work to get to a bigger goal, it's going to happen, regardless who you are and regardless what you do. It's just a fact of life.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I guess, if you have, what are some stories, I guess, you can kind of reflect back on where you worked so hard for something and then something actually came to fruition or actually happening, but, through the test of times and the storm, you were able to kind of like weather the storm and enjoy the fruits of your labor, whether it was in basketball or business.
Okay, well, instead of using basketball, I use business. So I had my own clothing line. I started in like 2012, 2013. There's a point in time where my main supplier for my apparel, he was getting really, really ill due to working long hours and not getting rest. So there's a point in time where I had a major order for a company in New York, one of my biggest ones. It was for Ebony Magazine in New York. It was a big, big opportunity. And I was calling my connect or my guy that I used for my apparel. He wouldn't answer the phone for like 2 days straight. And this was like on a Tuesday. I needed to get done on a Wednesday so I can bring it to New York with me. I didn't even chance like flying it out there or shipping. I wanted to bring it with me so I can present it with the actual president of Ebony. I wanted to do a good impression. The whole time process, this guy would answer the phone. I was so upset I didn't know what to do. I literally was on the phone with someone else, and I walked into somebody that heard me over saying something about clothes. Like, oh, I got my own shop, right? I'm like, yo, who are you? Like, I don't even know who you are. He's like, oh, I got my shop right around the corner. Take a walk with me. I'm walking around the corner. This is the biggest shop warehouse I've seen in my life, ever. And that became that day at a better price because I was not thinking that it's not going to happen. I was thinking, how is it going to happen? Like, I need to figure out a way to make it happen. In passing, I was downtown Toronto. He literally, in passing, heard me speak. He's like, oh, I got my own shop. I'm like, do you even know what I'm talking about? It's like, yeah, clothes. I'm like, cool. Took me over there, got everything done in 2 days. Afterwards, I took the stuff to New York. From there on, I like blossomed my relationship with Ebony and everyone else, and it was great. It was amazing. And that's the location is it's right where Lakeshore and Carl's were like kind of like what's that club? What's that club used to be called? What Government is?
Oh, Government, right by Lakeshore.
Right.
Lakeshore and Laura Jarvis.
Laura Jarvis and Lakeshore, in that area, that industrial area. It's like you wouldn't even believe this guy has a shop there. He literally took me to around the back of this factory. I'm like, yo, where are you taking me? Open it up. It was the biggest shop in the world, but it's shut down now. That was like 8 years ago.
That's
So
crazy,
that's just a story of how like being persistent and like not taking no for an answer, and how sometimes things may come up your way and it's over.
For sure. It's crazy, man, because you look at it now, man, being 8 years in, you're almost a decade into, you know, your brand, you know what I mean? So just talk about the evolution of that and some of the things that continues to inspire you to reach new heights with your brand, man. Because I think that to be able to kind of sustain a brand at that level, you know what I mean, is very commendable, bro, because a lot of people start things and they give up, you know, when things don't move the way they want it to. So just kind of
Right.
talk about that evolution and what are some driving forces of, you know, cultivating the Noire brand.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And for someone to say what's it called, I think it's called Allstate, but it's closed down now. They closed it down like 4 years ago. The story happened around 2012, and that's when I met him. We had a great relationship for like 3 years. He ended up moving out to Montreal and starting a family, so he doesn't have to shop anymore. But there's things that kind of inspire me, or where I pull inspiration from, is kind of like I like storylines. I like every piece of, like, this shirt I'm wearing now, like this new King shirt with like the Muhammad,
Fire.
Tupac. This is actually inspiration from one of my favorite covers, which is the Death Row cover, where you see Tupac, Suge Knight,
Snoop
Snoop Dogg, and
and
Dr.
Dre.
Dre.
Yeah.
And instead of using that rap group, I wanted to use prominent figures in my life that I felt like were influential in my life and in my story, and then give it to the people. So I try to make everything a storyline. And then in the bottom of this shirt, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll just tell you what it says. There's a song, there's a freestyle by Jay-Z, and it's the Grammy Family's freestyle.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna let you say the line because I think I know it. But I'm gonna let
You
you
see where it's going? So and that's that's a big freestyle for me. So it's very I pull a lot of motivation from that freestyle.
Yeah.
So that's, even in that freestyle, he's speaking of climbing the corporate ladder. I'm being courted by the bosses, the Edgars, the Doug Mosses, the Yaz and Lee, like that. So like his transitional phase, that's a whole other spectrum. But I pulled from that as well. But for this, I pulled from when he said, "You see Martin, see Malcolm, you see Big, see Pac, see
the outcome. Yeah.
You see Jesus, see Judas,
See
see Caesar, see Brutus." So instead of putting you see Big, instead of putting Big, I just changed Big's name with Muhammad. So you see Martin, see Malcolm, you see Martin, see Malcolm, see Muhammad, see Pac, see success in his outcome. I just pulled from that part of it, and it was like a storyline for me. So now when someone gets this piece, they may not know the whole story behind it, but they can read the lyrics. Then maybe someone can tap in, and then they can see their faces on it, be like, okay, cool. Now they can kind of wear more pride. And I got a bunch of different pieces coming out that, like, all of it's a storyline. It's like a soundtrack, or like a time capsule of different sorts of my inspiration that I want people to be able to pull from and wear it with a badge of honor. You know?
Sure.
A lot of thoughts into this. Shout out OJ. Shout out beardcure.co too.
Yes, sir. And that's the thing, bro. Like, I'm really trying to hold myself more accountable, bro. Let me start investing more money into shit like that has powerful messages, people that I actually really build with, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
any way, in any way, shape, or form, we can kind of put something together where we can continue to build a platform for young people that look like us, for our culture. Let's get it, bro. You know,
just do it, man. I appreciate
it. Definitely need that shirt too, bro. Let me know
when
it drops.
Sure. It dropped last week.
I bet online.
Yeah.
I bet, bro. Yeah,
I got some more like pieces dropping that are just like time capsules, man. And I've been working on this stuff for like a while in my mind. You know, for everything, like, I take my time with everything. So I could have rushed and did it, but I'd rather just take my time with it and make sure it makes a lot more sense to not just me, but to the consumer. So I want someone to be able to take this piece of clothing and look at it like, yo, hold up. Let me like Loaded Lucky say, let me rewind, find this mortifying. You know, and then when they get that intuitive, it's like, oh, it makes sense to me. Now they want to put their friend on, like, yo, this what this shirt means. Then now that shirt's like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Let me get it. Even if you don't want to buy it, it's cool. Yeah. I don't make this clothes for you to buy. I make this clothes for you to be inspired. You may just see a picture of it and be inspired.
Fuck it, bro. I'd rather put the money in your pocket than Gucci's pocket, bro. Because I know you directly. I don't know the guy that runs Gucci. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
And your message is more powerful. Yeah, we got a question,
what step you take to market your brand? Well, for me, I mean, I don't want to sound cliche. I try my best to market my brand in the most authentic way, which is like not use like models and not use like gimmicks. I try to make everything super organic and authentic, meaning if you buy from me, you're going to buy directly from the brand. If you wear it, you post it, you can get reposted. And if not, that's just what it is. Then behind every piece of clothing that I put out or whatever I do, I always make sure there's a story behind it. That's how I think. Like, my mind is like a soundtrack. Like, I groove a lot out of music. So a lot of these things are connected to music that has connected with me, that inspired me to make this article of clothing. So when you wear it with a badge of honor. So the more I can inspire through this, it's kind of like when you go to a concert and you buy the merch from the concert.
Exactly. I'm about to say that.
That's all my brand is. You're buying concert merch from my mind. Like, I'm putting it out there like that. And to me, it's influential and it's intuitive to myself. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro, it's dope, man, to see. And like I said, bro, to be able to develop something that sustains over a period of time, bro, it's hard. Yo, man, people just have ideas, and sometimes when things not going their way, they kind of fall.
Yeah,
so it's crazy.
Why? I want to add this. You know why? A lot of people don't sit with their ideas. Like, here's the thing: if you look at yourself as a farmer, if you plant that seed and you have the richest soil around it, if you do not water that seed, if you do not have the right sun around that seed, it's still not going to blossom or grow to the place it's supposed to grow to. Sometimes you have to have an idea and sit with that idea and make it build over time. Let it grow legs. Let it grow understanding. Let it grow knowledge and wisdom. And by the time it grows all of that, when you put it out to the universe, you're going to get all those blessings right back. Versus you get an idea like, oh, let me do this right now. Be the first to do it. Versus being the best or to being the more intuitive to do it. We can all put out the same amount of clothes or do the same type of font and designs. But guess what? Where's the storyline behind your clothes? How can you connect with someone with your brand? I know my storyline behind my clothes because I'm putting that thought process. I'm taking my time to build it that way. So now when you peel back the layers, it makes sense to you. Versus you just being like, well, this is what it is. You make it for what it is. No, this is the layers behind it. Peel it back, and you're gonna figure it out.
For sure, bro. Yo, I'm on the site right now. I'm gonna show you what I'm rocking with.
What you rocking with?
I'm rocking with this right here, bro. So you get the first look right now.
That's fire.
Top out right here.
That does look good for me, man. Well, a way I practice.
I'm about to get the shorts right here.
You going on?
I'm about to get my summer swag going, bro. You feel me?
You going on?
Yeah, bro. So definitely, man. Like I said, bro, it's about time. I think as Black individuals, as leaders, we definitely need to push the culture in the right way, and we definitely need to hold each other accountable, bro.
Yeah, someone said, how do I practice patience? I do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of meditating. And also, if you're not into that, I try my most to take my time with everything. Like, you have to practice it over time. You're not gonna. I wasn't always patient. Trust me. I used to rush things all the time and want things to come right away. It wasn't until I started practicing taking my time, knowing that sometimes my first answer isn't my best answer. Let me make it develop. And knowing like something better is coming behind it. And it's hard to explain, but the more you practice it on little things, the better you'll get with bigger things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's a process, things don't come, and you got to take things in doses, you got to just practice the little things with patience, man. I think instant gratification is something that a lot of people, fall slaves to, you know what I mean? And it's because I think it's the social media, the media aspect. A lot of us, we identify with, rap and celebrities. So we see what they have and we say, yeah, if this guy can have this, I can have this tomorrow, not knowing the behind the scenes work.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I just think it's time that we, everybody just, focuses on their own lane and one day at a time, bro. Slow and steady wins the race, bro. You know what I mean?
That's it, man. And be okay with being where you are in life. Don't I'm not saying don't look at someone like as goals or someone that you want to obtain, but every single morning when you wake up with this intuitiveness, always know you're your own metric of success. You're gonna have your own path. Like, try to be your best version of you every day, and you'll get to where you gotta go. Like, I'm not to say I don't look at someone like Jay-Z for inspiration, because he has done a vast amount of entrepreneurial and business things. But guess what I do? I don't want to be Jay-Z. I'm okay with being me, but still by pulling information. what I've learned from his mistakes, from his successes. Be okay with being you. The biggest thing people do is that I think is they want to be something that they're not because they feel like this guy has gotten here, so I should be there. No, maybe your path is different.
For sure.
Maybe you have something better coming for you that you don't know that you may be blocking by trying to be something you're not. Like, be okay with your process. It's different for everybody.
Yeah, and I just there's like a quote I used to always say, like, sometimes God takes out the good of something to bring you the great of something in life.
Wow.
So it's like
That's big.
you might be like, damn, bro, I had this going for myself, and you might not know that, you know, God blocked your blessings to bring you something better in the end. You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
fact.
Yeah. So like everybody just gotta, like you said, man, be in tune with their blessings, be appreciative, because our worst day, you know, on our worst day, you know, we're living like people on their best day. You go to different parts of the world where people don't even
Right.
have clean drinking water, resources to, you know, food and education. You know what I mean? And we're complaining that because we don't have $500 in our bank account and things like that. So
Right.
we really
Man,
got to look
that's
at it.
big, man. Every blessing you ignore becomes a curse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So don't ignore like the small blessings, man. I'm so grateful for every little thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I do everything off gratitude. Like
Mm-hmm.
like I just recently like had an Achilles injury. Now I'm just so thankful to walk, you know, without like having no pain. Small things like that. I take the small victories.
Yeah, bro, for
I'm so
sure.
proud of
We got
myself.
another question, bro. How do you network?
Well, I feel everyone networks differently, right? Because some people are more they're more outgoing. They like to conversate a lot more, and some people are more to themselves. Um, I feel like being able to effective networking is when you approach someone as being able to add value to that person versus me trying to take from you. Like if you just want to call my phone to ask me how much you can take from me, it's gonna be tough for us to network. But if automatically when we're starting to network, you're already finding ways to collaborate or add value to me. That's the best way to network. I love to network with people that can add value to what I'm doing, or and vice versa in a collaborative effort. You know, so I feel like going into a network opportunity with that mindset is everything. Like instead of like, what can I get from this guy, or how can this person help me? You know, it's how can we help each other? How can we help each other? How can we horizontally integrate? You know, versus
Absolutely.
just trying to find ways to jump over each other. You know.
Yeah, and it's crazy because now referring back to that book, Give or Take, it says takers usually would love to benefit. No, they would rather the personal cost higher than the beneficial cost.
Right.
And givers, it's, you know, they're giving and it's less than the personal cost for the beneficial cost. So it's like a two-way mutual street, right?
Right.
So I just think that, like I said, man, you just have to be genuine and just looking to build and build in terms of adding value, and for both of you guys to have similar visions. You know, I think sometimes when you network, everybody thinks it's like a pitch contest. This is what I do. You know, it's like, okay, well, what if I don't want what you're doing? You know, I just want
Right.
somebody that can add value, and you know what I mean,
Right.
be genuine, and be genuine enough to take their time to build that, you know, cultivate that relationship. Like you said, you can network all you want, but you got to build that relationship and that
Right.
rapport. You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
key point. That's when someone says, is it possible to build to a network without trust? It's possible, but I don't know how you're gonna be able to sustain that business relationship without any trust. So this is why building a rapport makes a lot of sense. Here's why people go to the golf course so they can build a rapport with each other. Here's why people may go for dinners that they're not talking about business at all. They just want to know about you. People don't invest in businesses; they invest in people. They don't care about what you got going on business wise. They don't care about what type of person you are. They're gonna
Yeah,
invest in you
you gotta
versus your
repeat.
business.
You gotta speak louder for the people in the back, man.
Yeah, people don't invest in businesses; they invest in people. So, people, a lot of people have that misconstrued. Like, I'm going to invest in someone that I see a light in. You know, if I see a light in you, I don't even care if your business is at the bottom. I know you may be doing something different 4 years from now where you're going to be at the top. So I'm going to invest in you as a human being because I can see that you have that hunger to be successful. You may have the wrong team around you. You may be going in the wrong direction. You may be in the wrong business field, but you still have that light. So I'm going to invest in you as a person. And until when you reach to the top, suppose I'm not where I need to be in life, and you're going to pull me up. And that's how networking goes.
Absolutely, man. It's crazy how far you can definitely get off of, we always talk about leveraging our network and relationship equity. Because, when I started business, essentially, I thought it's like, damn, I can't do this because I don't have the funds. I don't have, I had a lot of ideas, but I used to tell myself I couldn't do things because I didn't have the monetary, the capital.
Right.
But, I think now it comes to a point where we're in a space in media where you just got to put out your ideas, and there's different ways to alleviate not having capital. Like, I think, like you always said, would you rather the $10 million with a $1 million network or a $10 million network with $1 million?
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's the key right there. Of
A lot of people,
understanding how to leverage that $10 million network
exactly.
versus $1 million of liquid cash, and vice
Yeah.
versa.
Yeah, because like you know what, like your network becomes my network and vice versa. We
Right.
can now build off of each other's network. Granted that we have that good relationship, and they always say partnership, no sponsorship. I'd rather have a partnership
Right.
instead of being, you know what I mean?
100%. I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So yeah, man, it's definitely pretty dope, man. It's exciting times. I wanted to turn a little bit of light to the social revolution that we're facing in the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of where do you stand as a community leader as well as a black male, and obviously growing up during this time, what are some ways we can strategize a plan as a black community to reinvent ourselves?
Well, someone asked, I'm from Ghana, but I'm born in Toronto. My parents are from Ghana, in the western of the city. Where I've been dealing with this stuff for a while, because um, not just in the racial aspect, but there's still colorism as well in the black community. And growing up, it was a thing. And where I stand now is, I feel like the best way we can combat all the negative energy going on outside of the world is finding ways that we can collaborate and keeping money circulating into the black community, keeping that black dollar circulating. If you know someone that has a hair salon, you go there. If you know someone to do your nails, you go there. Let's open up a black bank where we can put our money into the bank versus going to Scotia Bank versus going to Bank of Montreal, etc. Black banks, so they can now give our black businesses more loans. And then all, remember, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was speaking about the HBCUs on how that would change the game, and now people are trying to see it. So I stand where, like, versus us being, not saying don't fight for what we believe in, but while we're fighting for what we believe in, let's come back there with solutions that'll keep our people not oppressed, but will keep our market value raising, because we have so much opportunity on what we can do in these positions that we're in.
For sure, bro. That's big, man. I think, you express different ways. I think the biggest thing I think is the collaboration, the unifying as a community, and that, like you said, using that, opportunity and purchasing power and keeping it within our communities,
Right.
supporting people that are, black business owners, or that has somebody that is a minority that's, in our community, that's gonna increase our market value.
Right.
And I think over the years, and I'm now trying to hold myself and my brothers more accountable to say, go support this guy right here. Or you're looking for a guy that does video. Oh, I know a guy, he's dope.
Right.
It so happens that he is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
just training the mental conditioning, because we're already conditioned and brainwashed to think that black people might not have those skills, but we got to really retrain ourselves, because we're the creators of the culture. This is what
Yeah,
we
for
created.
sure.
You know what I mean?
For
We
sure.
define the standards for our culture. So it's very important that we kind of start, holding everybody accountable and start, making that shift generationally.
I agree, and I agree. Just like what you said, I feel like in order for us to get to where we have to get to, we have to eradicate our mind, our thought process to create a new one. We have to stop thinking the way we were thinking before and create a new way of thinking. Like Loaded Lux always says, I eradicate then create. Like, let's eradicate that old way of thinking, and now let's create a new way, and not make it a trend. Let's not be talking about this in September when back to school comes around. Let's continue to keep this conversation going.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's important, and it's important that I think leaders like us really cultivate that change and use our platforms to advocate for the things that we believe is
Right.
good and is dear to our hearts. You know, I think it's very important because a lot of the influence, you know, and I just think the social and cultural currency that's been able to be developed through our platforms is immaculate, right? So it's very good that we continue to push these conversations forward and talk to other people that may be on the same wavelength up here
Right.
to make those changes, man. Because I think as a community, if we come collectively as one, we're gonna be hard to beat. Just like the
Right.
Jews, the Italians, you know what I mean, the Koreans, you know
I
what I
agree.
mean, the other ethnicity groups.
I agree, and we can't be afraid to voice this opinion and act on it. I feel like it has to be more of a, like you said, a more of a collective thing. And as you know, we already have some stuff in the works in the back end. But I feel like creating our own Easter is important. You know, creating our own Easter where we eat and we break bread with each other is important. I feel like
Absolutely.
that's a big step. And I got some stuff in the works that I'm gonna share with you off of this because I can't share with it because it's not all the way done.
For
That's gonna
sure.
that's gonna really kind of change the game in terms of bridging the gaps. And someone mentioned networking. It's gonna be like almost like an opportunity just for anybody who's of any ethnicity to come and network, but predominantly the Black dollar. And that's what it's going to come to
Absolutely.
spend some of that Black dollar. So it's
Yep.
important. I'm excited about it. And I don't look at these times as a time of constraint or like I'm down on it. I look at this as an opportunity to do something big and create some solutions so people behind us don't have to go through this.
Yeah, and I think that's important, man. You know, you're definitely in a space. I'm gonna be there in the next decade or so where I have to create now, and I'm gonna have kids and a family. So it's
Right.
like I want to make their life easier, and they don't have to go through my struggle. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
No,
that's
for
what
sure.
we're doing it for. That's why you invest in the youth and a lot of assets that are dear to you because you want to make it easier for the next generations to come. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I mean, Hunter, I agree, man. If you're not making it easier for them, you're making it harder on yourself. And
Mm,
repeat that. If you're not making it easier for the next generation, you're really making it harder on yourself because it's only going to come back to get you. The easier I make it for the guys behind me, the easier it's going to be for me because when it comes time to horizontally integrate, we're going to be vertically integrating. Instead of me going to pick them up, we're going to be on the same level because the younger generation usually picks up stuff faster than the older generation.
absolutely.
And so by the time we're ready to integrate, they're already up here, and now we're going together on the even playing field.
Yeah, it's crazy because I feel like the older generation is the core characteristics don't change and the mental conditioning. It's hard to condition your mind at a grown like when you're 35, it's hard to mentally condition to new things. But the youth, it's easy for them to adapt and pick up things and they
Right,
actually will listen to you. And that's why I said there's a difference between the OG and the old head.
right,
The OG will show you through experience and share lessons and inspire those around him. The old head will complain about things that he couldn't do and
right,
he will inflict ill intent on those around him. You know what I mean? So
right.
you gotta
For
really
sure.
surround yourself with the OG and not the old head. You get what
That's
I'm
big.
saying?
That's big. I respect that. I
Yeah,
see
bro.
where you're going with that. Another thing that I think we might have to tag this one day. You might have, whoever got a pen, you got to write this down. It's never ever been survival of the fittest. It's always been the survival of the most adaptable.
Mm,
It's never been a survival of the fittest. There's people that's in great shape that won't in a different climate. They're just in shape for the wrong thing. If you're in shape for baseball like Michael Jordan was, you're not gonna come back and be dominant in basketball because guess what? You got to change your body. You got to adapt. So now when you get your chance to build and adapt and get back to that basketball shape, you're gonna be successful. But guess what? Survival has never been for the fittest. It's always been for the most adaptable. So be like water, where you can adapt easier. Don't be one track minded.
yeah, that's a bar right there, bro. Never been survival for the fittest. It's always
I've
been.
been on my bars lately, man. I've been in my
Uh,
bag. I've been in album mode for a while. I've been in album mode for about a
bro,
month now.
I was about to ask you, bro. What's your top five Hove albums, bro?
Right now, I literally. So this is why it's so fresh. Yesterday, like around 4 in the morning, after I finished reading, I was watching the documentary on YouTube, which is the the construction of Reasonable Doubt, which was first called Heir to the Throne,
Mm-hmm.
and then they changed it to Reasonable Doubt like a month before it was released. So me
Yeah.
watching Reasonable Doubt the construction of this in the documentary format, I gotta now move Reasonable Doubt to 1 because all the stuff that were happening in the back end with Hove, like it was unheard of to even be independent at that time. Like, so I gotta move Reasonable Doubt to 1. I got Blueprint at 2. I got 444 at 3. I got a sneak there with Volume 2 at 4, and then I'm gonna put the Dynasty album number 5. I love the Dynasty album, even though it's not a full album, but it's not really just Hove. But I just like the collaborative. That's what I feel like Club got in his collaborative bag. You know,
So it's like a Reasonable Doubt at 1. You got Blueprint at 2.
Yeah, I got 444 at 3. 444 and Blueprint change every day for me, man. They change from 2 and 3. So I got 444 at 3 right now. I may change next week. I got Volume 2 because I feel like the space creatively where Hove was in, that's the first time his back was against the wall. That's when everyone was loving Nas. That's when Biggie was dead. That's when West Coast music was hot. And Hove wasn't really Hove. He didn't have that H to Israel. He didn't have that hit yet. So I feel like Volume 2, he was just in a real, like, hungry state of mind. Like, he was just really, like, there. Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, bro. That's what's up, bro. I bang with the Black Album, bro. That's my fish, bro, right there.
I forgot the Black Album.
The Black Album, boy. Yup.
You know what? I got to take Volume 2 out of there.
Okay. So I got the Black Album.
So I got... No, I'm gonna leave Volume 2 in there. I'm gonna give the Black Album for today's 6 because the space that I'm in mentally, like in album mode terms, I'm in Volume 2 mode. I go in different mode. Sometimes I'll be in Black Album 2 mode, but right now I'm in Volume 2 mode where I'm just hungry. Like I'm in that creative space where I feel like my back's against the wall, even though it's not. But I want to go there mentally where it's like, yo, I only eat what I kill. Like, let's go. What's next? And that's what I want to do. I love the Black Album, but the Black Album is real sensual and it's real retiring type music. Like one of my favorite songs ever is Allure. One of my favorite songs ever crafted, but it's more of a collaborative pieces of I'm getting out the game. I'm not getting out the game. I'm just walking in.
For sure.
I'm hungry right now. I'm in album mode right now.
Jason says sometimes you're in studio mode. He said, how do you forget about the Black Album?
Yeah, it happens because for me, like it depends what space you're in. Just like with let's say we're gonna rank Drake albums, right? Let's say if So Far Gone's the album, our top 5. Let's say for most of the times, Nothing Was the Same because the relatability for me is gonna be number 1. Then you may have So Far Gone. Then you may have Take Care, which is another amazing piece. Then you may have Views, and you may have Nothing Was the Same. But it depends what space I'm in. I'm not an artist or a creator that thinks one way. Depends where I'm at in my life, where I'm at with it. So
absolutely. I think, man, like Reasonable Doubt, hard. Blueprint for sure.
Yeah.
You don't know it's probably the best
crazy
whatever ever.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? 444, I appreciate it now more. Hard V2, the intro for sure. Can I Get Up with Jaw?
Oh my god.
Yeah, bro.
And that's what him and Echo's at war. They're like at war, like sparring, not like fight war, but like sparring, like who's a better MC.
Yeah.
And that's when Dark and Hell Is Hot came out during Volume 2 era. I was trying to tell you this, but Hope was like, yo, what's going on? I gotta get into this bag.
Remember the V2, they did the tour, the Hard Knock Life tour.
There you go.
Classic.
I'm telling you.
Classic.
V2 Hard Knock Life tour. Reservoir Dogs. Freestyle and everything. Like I'm trying to tell you, this is the bag I'm in right now. I'm in a Reservoir Dog bag right now. Like that's why you see me like I'm coming out with every other day. You're gonna see something.
For sure.
What up, Jones, man?
Appreciate it, man.
That's my dog from LA. How you, man?
For sure, man. But yeah, man. So I just we'll end off on, your message out there to the youth, to aspiring entrepreneurs, our Black community, man. What are, a message out there that you can give?
My biggest thing is kind of like, I'll piggyback off what I started off with, is let's not be so focused on instant gratification. Let's focus on a result to a problem that's ongoing. Everything's a live document. Let's focus on putting one foot before the other. Let's focus on slow motion but staying in motion. Let's focus on not having everything in a microwave fashion. Let's focus on the first answer is probably not the best answer. If you're doing your SAT test and you see the first answer may be A, don't circle that one. That's not the right answer. The first thing that comes to your head is not usually the right thing, unless it's intuitive, if that makes sense. Unless it's a feeling. I'm talking about like right or wrong, or like getting to a problem with a solution. Let's take our time and build on things. Let's plant more seeds, and let's nourish our environments around the seeds that we plant. You know, when you see, especially to my Black community, in Canada especially, there's not so much happening in America, but in Canada, in Toronto for sure. When you see another Black person, say hello. Do not screw face him. Do not look him up and down and judge him. You see another person that looks like you, say hello, even if you don't know them. When you go to different cities and you walk by another brother, how you doing, brother? You good? I'm good, man. How you? You take it by storm. You walk around in Toronto, you get a screw face by guys you don't even know, but he looks like you. That's the first step. Like, start off with greeting people that look like you. That maybe you'll turn the corner. Greet somebody with a smile. Like, I don't know why everyone got their face screwed up. It's not really gonna help nobody. So that's like the main thing. Like, I look fly, man. I'm not really trying to screw my face. I'm really dripping, so.
For sure.
Yo, yeah, the thing is, that's how Toronto is now. But it takes a couple people to switch it up. If we continue to do this, I know guys that screw face for no reason and they're really happy inside. Like, why are you so mad, bro? You work a good job. You have a good life. You have a nice house and you're screwing your face. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I'm happy, so I don't got to screw my face. I don't need this.
What was that song? Imaginary Players.
Imaginary Players. What's the
Where's
difference
all
between a 4.0 and a 4.6?
The Rolex.
Yeah.
The diamonds, yeah.
Yeah,
What's the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6?
Yeah, like 30, 40 grand.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. But hey, brother, man, always a pleasure, bro. And you know, just continue to elevate our culture, man, and push it in the right way, bro. And you know what it is, bro. I'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, for sure. I
can't
appreciate
wait
it,
to build, brother.
Thank you, man. Let's link. We're gonna link for sure. I appreciate the time. Always, anytime you need anything, I got you, brother.
All right, my man. See you soon, bro.
Thanks everyone for tapping in.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So there you have it. Shout out to Big Twee, man, my OG, checking in on episode 9 here on Culture Conversation. So be sure to tune in next week. And just stay prayed up. Everybody stay blessed, man. Have a wonderful Wednesday. And your host, once again, checking out. Peace.